Last Sunday, I was invited to discuss Happily Entangled AF and our vlog and everything about marriage positivity with Jilean Fabiean, host of Talk of the Box on Gayelle The Caribbean. So if you did not have an opportunity to look at that interview, I would suggest you go across to their Facebook page and take a look after you've looked at this vlog. Now, while we were chatting, a few of the viewers, they actually got a little curious about different things about Islam, and also host Jilean had some of her questions, and since me being Muslim and being there, she was just too excited. She was very excited, in fact, to find out little things. So 2 questions in particular piqued their curiosity, and one was, is a woman supposed to be submissive to her husband? And the other one was, how would I feel if Fazeer were to have taken a second wife? So I'll tell you my response. Well, the short version of it, right? The longer version, you'll go across and take a look at that interview. The short version is, I said to the first question, I said, I think most people misinterpret the word submissive, and I don't see anything wrong with the man being the head of the household and you letting him lead and follow. However, I think we need to discuss things first, and then, he eventually will make the last decision. Something to that effect, right? So the second question was about a second wife. And theoretically, I feel right now it's a law and I accept it. However, I don't know if that were to happen, how I would really deal with it. So I thought, since Fazeer and I are a team and this is our marriage vlog, you got my version of it, I think we need to get his version. I'm sure you want to find out, and I certainly want to know what he has to say. Welcome to Happily Entangled AF.
Well, thanks for having me on the show. Delighted to be here, in superstar company.
I know.
Good job on the interview, by the way, Gayelle.
Thank you very much.
I was very happy and very proud of you, that woman, and and I also to your parents and everybody else who are avid viewers of the vlog. I saw many of them, like many familiar names, jumping across onto Gayelle's Facebook page as well on the live stream.
I did. Thank you very much. I haven't had a time to respond, but I will respond to your comments.
Yeah, but thank you very much. The love and support has been absolutely overwhelming. So, question 1. Let's take it one at a time, because I feel these are going to be difficult questions. What's the first question?
I don't think so, not for you. I mean, You're a guy of a lot of words, so I'm sure.
That's fancy way to tell me that I talk too much.
Because that's both of us, right?
I get paid to do it, so, So, question 1.
Question 1. Do you think that a wife is supposed to be submissive to her husband?
Firstly, I'll say that what I think and what you think and what anybody who professes to belong to a particular faith thinks is irrelevant if you claim to believe in that faith. Meaning, if you are Muslim, you don't get to cherry pick the rules that you want to follow and those that you choose not to, right? So the law is this in Islam, that wives need to submit. But what does submit really mean, right? And why submit? So as Uncle Zaid said to us just last night, when the command came for women to submit, it said that the reward for her submitting to her husband, firstly, her submitting to her husband is for the pleasure of her maker. So if you are a Muslim woman and you choose to submit to your husband, it's not because your husband is the shiznit or your husband is, this whatever. It's simply because your maker has said, hey, do this, and this is tantamount to your service. This is what I want you to do. This is your role. And if you do this well, then you will be able to enter paradise through any door that you choose. So
does that mean I need to treat you much better?
Much better.
It's going to mean that I could pick my door.
So that's on the Islamic side, right? So the gist of that is basically to say that if you're Muslim, Hindu, Christian, whatever faith you belong to, you don't get to cherry pick the things that you want to follow and that you don't want to follow, because every faith has something about it that is not au courant with the current world and the modern world and the modern lifestyles, So that's one. On the subject of leadership, though, and submission, you know, before we got married, I used to always tell you that I do not want a submissive wife. And when I say submissive, like, I don't want somebody who's just going to be passive and agree with everything that I say. You know, I want that spunk. I want that chat. I don't want confrontation, and that is an important point. I think, like,
sometimes it's misinterpreted.
Correct. Like, many people feel the opposite of submission is confrontation, and no, submit means that you submit to somebody's will. You're still allowed an opinion. You're still allowed to have your say. You're still allowed to make a case. You're still allowed to lobby. You're still allowed to nag.
You're not allowed to nag, please.
Well, to use your sphere of influence, right?
Right.
But you're allowed to do all of these things. But eventually, you submit to the will. And like you had said on Gayelle, you know, when asked if it is that you disagree with the decision that your husband makes, and they ask you, what do you do then? And you said, I'll
just wait a little and maybe bring it up again. And if, you know, it remains the same, then you just leave it alone and let it go.
And you let the Lord, have his way, and you let time pass so that the Lord could decide whether he wants to work on you to accept the decision or work on your spouse to change his mind. You know? So that's pretty much that on the submission front. I will say this though, as a heads up to ladies before you get married, right? This is why it is so important that you choose a good spouse, because if you are going to submit if you're going to submit to somebody before you get married, you have all the power to choose whom you submit to.
Correct.
It is important that you choose a spouse who is going to be someone that is capable of leading, and you get to make that decision. Nobody's forcing you to marry anybody, you know. So you have to go beyond the aesthetics and beyond the looks and whatever else it is that you pay attention to these days, and you know, all that sort of stuff, and find somebody who is capable of leading. Find somebody whose judgment you trust and who you will be willing to submit to, because if you can't submit to him before marriage, if you don't trust his judgment before marriage, do you really think it's going to change when you get married?
It doesn't change.
So it is important that you find somebody who is walking in faith, who is capable of leading and is a good leader. And a good leader is not somebody who is going to make decisions. That's usually what we've been led to believe. That's a boss, right? A boss is just somebody who's going to make the decisions. A leader is somebody who is first and foremost a good follower, right? I always remember Mostad saying that to me, that to be a good leader, you have to learn how to be a good follower, first of all, so you understand everything that and the people that you are going to be leading. In this particular instance, you understand your spouse. You've taken the time to get to know her, to love her, and because you know her and love her, yes, the final decision is yours, per se, but you know, how you choose to go about making decisions will depend on each person. So some guys will make the decision on their own, some will consult with their wives, but there are also many men whose style of leadership is one of it's a very laissez-faire, very laid-back kind of approach, where they just as well tell the wife, you go ahead, you do everything I did, and if there's something I don't agree with, that's the only time I'll say something.
Yeah, so that's a pretty extensive answer, but I think
it was, but you know, like,
it's worth it, because I think you can't just give a short vision, you know.
And I also feel like you can't shortchange, like you can't take a big issue that has the potential to be contentious, or has the potential to let people walk away with wrong impressions. I think you can't simplify everything into one word answers and one line answers. You got to take the time to explain things sometimes, you know.
I agree. So
question two.
Would you like to have a second wife? And what do you think about second wives?
You asking for them, or you asking for you?
Well, I'm asking for them, and you know, if I get the answer to me, I want to know too.
So as you had said on Gayelle, and this is probably like the most personal thing I think we've ever shared on these vlogs. Like, we've shared a lot of personal things which are neither here nor there for us, but as you said on Gayelle, before we got married, you said to me, and I always remember this, you said to me, you had certain conditions before we got married, and one of those conditions was, don't ever run around on you. If I see somebody and I like really can't help myself and I like this person, do it the correct way, do it the Islamic way. And as we say in guy talk, right? Nicker before you sticker. But basically it means do it in the way that the Lord has prescribed so that you don't fall into sin, right? And I remember that, and I remember being blown away by the fact that in this day and age, a woman would say that to you, you know? And that was all the more reason why I wanted to marry her, not because of what she was saying to me in terms of I want to take advantage of that opportunity, but because it takes a woman who is rooted in her faith to see beyond her own emotional potential turmoil and upheaval to say, do it because it's what the Lord would want, even if I'm going to be hurt by it, you know? So that's a real big thing to be able to do, because there are many Muslim women who, even though this is the law, they will still say, no, I won't have it, I wash my hands off of it. If he ever decides to do that, I'll leave his tail, you know? But
then I feel like sometimes you have to think about it. If you already know this person and you're so comfortable with them and they are a good person, they treat you well and whatever else, are you just going to walk away from that and hope that maybe you'll find another person who's going to fill this role, or are you just going to be bitter for the rest of your life? I feel it's like, it's a lot to think about.
It is. And on the other side of it, I'll say that it's not always like your temperament will be different to another person's,
Correct.
And your love language will be different to somebody else's. And I could see another woman, like that would really be the last straw for her, because she may feel betrayed or, very deeply hurt and maybe even insecure in that moment, or whatever the case may be. So for different people and for different couples, it'll be different, right?
True.
To answer your question more specifically for me, however, I will say this. Firstly, the law is not just you're allowed to have 4 wives. The law is that you're allowed 4, but 1 is best. All right? And that's a part, I think, that always gets left out of the equation. You're allowed 4, but Allah says to us in the Quran, 1 is best. And there are prerequisites, there are conditions for having more than 1. And those conditions, some say equality, others say equity, as in you got to treat all of them, if not equally, equitably, or similarly. You can't curry favor one over the other, that sort of stuff, right? So am I as a man really going to be capable of treating one person, in the same manner that I treat the other? And those are questions that I have to ask myself. I will never say no to anything. Like, I never say never. So I'm not putting anything beyond us to say that, like, I'm not here to try to mama guy my wife or you to say, I will never do that and make it seem like I'm this real, faithful, romantic kind of guy, because you never know what the future holds, right? But as of now, I'll say that is the law, right? 4 is permissible, 1 is best, and on the other side of that, I'll say this, right? This is something that is optional. There are other things in the faith that are mandatory, right? And one of the most important things after your belief in the religion is your prayer, your salah, right? 5 times a day, and not just to offer it, but to offer it with reverence and to correct it and to offer it properly. And me personally, as a Muslim, I am still learning and growing in this regard. Like, I have not perfected this yet, not anywhere close to it. So for me, it's like thinking logically. I just feel like before I move on to 4 optional wives, let me try to focus first on the thing that my Lord said to me that is going to be the first thing that he questions me about when I reach the grave. He's not going to ask me firstly how I treated my 4 wives. He's going to ask me firstly, did you offer the prayer, and check the quality of the prayer, the reverence, and everything else. So before I could focus on 4 wives, let me focus on correcting the things that God says I must fix, I must get right first, right? But I also bear in mind what you told me, and I keep that in mind. There is. It feels, honestly, it feels like less of a stress factor. It feels like a weight taken off, knowing that if you meet somebody along the way, and there is a click, a connection, or for whatever reason something has to happen, that it's not, gosh boy, it's not even something that like you think about, but the fact that you said it to me plays on my mind, like, don't run around, don't do it. If you have to do it the Islamic way. Like, that just plays on my mind all the time.
Really?
Yeah, like that's like a real amazing thing to say. And I'll tell you something that I probably didn't think I was going to tell you before, but I'll say it now.
Yeah, because we love you and I want to share everything. So.
But I also think that this is real important for me to say too, possibly for other gentlemen looking on. As far as I can help it, I wouldn't entertain the idea of a second wife, and that is that even if there is attraction or reason or whatever, I wouldn't entertain that idea simply because of, gosh, don't get too emotional and thing, but simply because like I know how that would affect you. I know how that would hurt you, you know, and I wouldn't want to do that.
Aww.
You know, yeah. So yeah, that's it. Like the thought of leaving you on any given night to be with somebody else, or like hurting you in that regard, or creating that space between us, because we spent every moment that we could together.
Sure.
And I just can't fathom that with anybody else, or sharing that with anybody else other than you. You know, like
you.
I never know you never know what the future would hold.
Sure.
For me or for you.
That's true.
But for now,
this is it.
That's my take.
We're the team. Well, I hope that him answering those two questions and you getting my two cents, because you know I was 2 cents and he was $1. That, you know, it just helps you and enlightens you a little bit about what Islam has and what goes on there.
Yeah, and I will end by saying this, right? If you're looking for an Islamic answer to those questions of how many wives is a Muslim man allowed to have, and how should he treat her, and what are all the rules pertaining to that, and should a wife be submissive, and why, and all those things, you need to ask an Islamic scholar that. We could only give you an answer from our unique married perspective. We happen to be Muslim, so we're giving you responses based on the little, and I do mean very, very, very little that we know. But if you really want a proper Islamic theoretical answer, then you really need to reach out to a scholar. There's so much material. Like, we thought about maybe asking somebody to share that information with us on this vlog, but it's just so readily available. One Google search, one YouTube video away from getting all the answers that you've been looking for, and multiple perspectives as well. So we didn't want to recreate that wheel kind of thing, and instead just chose to share our opinion with you, our take on it with you. So
this was maybe a little bit of a heavy vlog.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on to a much lighter side, excitement. So remember, we had our cutest matching couple promotion, and we did reveal the winner on Gayelle The Caribbean.
Yeah, which is Satyam Rampasad and his wife. So they were the couple that was dressed in clothes made of the same cloth.
Yes.
Yeah, a floral kind of pattern, black with red.
Some red flowers
yeah.
on it.
And it looked like they had a photo shoot. I'm not sure if it was a photo shoot picture or a random picture.
But it was really pretty, and they look cute, and they look all into each other.
Yeah.
Totally entangled.
It was a really difficult decision, just FYI. There were so many couples who, they didn't just have matching clothes, and we weren't just looking for matching clothes, right? We were looking for matching clothes, but like, there had to be something about the picture that made us feel like, you know, couples really into each other, and we got that from so many pictures. We only had enough prizes to offer 5 couples prizes, but we had selected a minimum of 10 couples, but we just didn't have enough prizes to give all 10 couples, and we didn't want to hail out the additional 5 and not have something to offer them and then make other couples feel like, you know, we didn't hail them out either. And you know, so, but thank you very much for your submissions and for sharing that love with us. And it
was overwhelming. We actually had to have Fazeer mommy help us, because we were up late one night and she's like, what you all doing up so late? And we're like,
we can't decide.
Yeah, it's just too hard. It's too hard. I'm like, I don't ever want to be a judge. I can't imagine what, you know, God's position is.
Yeah, for real. So hold that thought.
Yeah, we're gonna show you what the present is.
This is the consolation prize that we are giving out to 4 couples. Yeah. So 4 couples will each receive a pair of these Happily Entangled AF masks, and this, by the way, is our spanking new logo, which took us longer to design, but we're very happy with the end result, and we hope you like it as well. Happily Entangled AF. And these are going to be on sale soon. That's our first batch of Happily Entangled AF merch that we are dropping. So if you like the vlog, if you enjoy the vlog and you'd like to support us, please feel free to DM us and place your orders for these masks. We'll have the price available soon. We're not sure of the exact price as yet, but we're trying to make it as affordable as we possibly can. And this is the grand prize for Satyam and his wife. These are some really awesome long-sleeved Happily Entangled AF branded t-shirts. Yeah, and here's the thing, right? Satyam and his wife are getting this. We don't even have for ourselves. Like, we only got 2 because they only had 2 black t-shirts remaining, and we were only able to get the 2, which was of paramount importance for both Satyam and his wife. We will deliver to them. We'll deliver this to them over the course of this weekend, and we'll deliver these prizes to all of the other couples as soon as we possibly can as well. Yeah?
Yeah, so thank you for viewing. This has brought us to the end of episode 17.
A real long vlog. You could real talk, girl. Oh my god.
Yeah, but they don't mind. They enjoy it, I'm sure. If you think that we spoke for too long, just leave us a comment below.
Yeah.
And share your views as well. Maybe I'm sure you have thoughts on this topic as well. So share your views with us. We enjoy reading your comments.
My question would be, how do you, Miss Fine, think, what do you think about the possibility of your significant other having more than one wife or taking another wife, right? How would you respond if you were in that situation? Or if you are in that situation, how did you deal with it? And before you jump on the bandwagon, as Jilean said about criticizing it, just bear in mind that this system was set up really just to make it proper and to make it something that is wholesome and decent, as opposed to the common tradition these days of everybody running around having affairs and having multiple partners, and the typical word in Trinidad, it's everybody honing somebody else, and that sort of stuff. So how would you respond to that? And secondly, depending on your faith, how would you answer the question of should a woman submit to her husband? So especially if we've got any Christian, Hindu, or anybody else who is not a Muslim viewing the vlog, let us know specifically what your faith says about the subject of submission. We would be delighted to get those responses as well.
Well, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will catch you soon. Bye for now.